and welcome to Sports 360 Degree, your weekly dose of all the major sporting events across the globe. Today on Sports 360 Degree, we will analyze the key matches and teams in the round of 16 at the Euro 2024, bring you the updates from the Paris Olympics and much more. But first up, let's dive into the latest updates from the Euro 2024. England faced Slovakia in the round of 16 on Sunday. The Three Lions entered the competition in Germany among the pre-tournament favourites, subsequently topping the Group C to make it into the round of 16. Yet their pole position belies the performance levels of the first three games, with drab draws against Denmark and Slovenia, following a narrow 1-0 win over Serbia in the opener. Standing in England's way are Slovakia, who have already upset a leading nation with a shock 1-0 win over Belgium in Group E. A tense draw against Romania on match day 3 sealed their progress, and Francesco Caizona's side are now dreaming of a first last stage spot at the major tournament since the country became independent in 1993. And after taking a very different route through the group stages, Spain and Euro 2024 underdog Georgia meet for a last 16 contest in Cologne on Sunday evening. Memories will undoubtedly drift to the 7-1 thrashing they dished out to the same opponents last year in a match that helped the team gel at a time of turmoil of Spanish football, while La Roja strode through as Group B winners with a 100% record. The Georgians stole into the knockout phase with a stunning defeat of Portugal. The unlikely pair now vie for a place in the quarterfinals, winning all three group games at a European Championship for the first time since 2008, when their brief reign of the global supremacy began, and Spain could afford to make 10 changes and still take maximum points from Monday's meeting with Albania. Having previously taught the reigning champions Italy a lesson in glaciation and swept aside Croatia in Berlin, the Spanish squad now march on to the knockout rounds for a fifth successive major tournament and the seventh time in 8. And to help us put things in perspective, we are joined by DD India correspondent Oli Bharat from London. Oli brings with a wealth of experience and insightful analysis, marking him the perfect expert to guide us through the excitement and the drama at the Euro 2024. Oli, a very warm welcome. Starting with the England, a very important team. England went to the Euro 2024 with the Premier League, La Liga and Bundesliga's Player of the Year. The front four of Phil Foden, Bellingham, Harry Kane and Bukayo Saka all have over 20 goals. And the front five, including the Declan Rice, are all valued over 100 million poundage. Yet, England, tipped as a pre-tournament favourite, has not lived to the expectation. What are the reasons behind this?
It's very interesting because we've spoken previously ahead of the tournament about the balance of the England side, and many England fans and analysts have real concerns about the defence because of the absence of some players, including Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, being injured. But they were very confident about the team in attack, given the attacking prowess that you were just mentioning there. But actually, during the tournament so far, if anything, the issues have been the other way around. The defence has been very solid indeed, with Mark Gurhey playing alongside John Stones in the middle. But going forward, England have lacked penetration at times. They've lacked fluidity. They've seemed to lack confidence as well. Players like Jude Bellingham, who had such a fantastic season for Real Madrid, have looked a shadow of the players that play for their league sides during the season. That's led to all sorts of speculation that perhaps fatigue may be playing a role, whether it's the system that the manager has been playing. Gareth Southgate has spoken himself about not being entirely sure what England's best midfield lineup is, and so it'll be interesting to see what he goes with in the game on Sunday. But it's abundantly clear that England have not clicked when going forward, and clearly that's something that's been focusing Gareth Southgate's mind in the build-up to this last 16 game.
Hoping that in the last 16 game against Slovakia, they will bring something different. We are also joined by the senior journalist Rakesh Rao. Rakesh, a very warm welcome. Talking about this France team, if you take a look, they have we can say the world-class player and the caliber of Kylian Mbappe, onto a Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele. It's hard to believe that the French team struggles so much to score goal in this tournament. What's the reason you find, Rakesh?
Obviously, they haven't been, they are not sharp enough so far. But the point is that you can never rule them out. They are a world-class unit. It is just that their front line hasn't been able to penetrate, and maybe their opponents have marked them pretty well. But then that is not enough. They just wanted to qualify, and there they are. But the point is, when you look at the side, I mean, let's not forget this is a class side. Look at what they did in the World Championship, in the World Cup last, in that last edition. So what you need to understand here is that don't just rule out teams just because they haven't done well. Yes, the form is some indication, but at the same time, it is a world-class unit there. So, I mean, in the same way, when you talk about England, now England as a side, of course, in every Euro, if you see over the years, this team has been, it remains a hyped team because of the kind of structure they have. But the point is that if they do enough to be in the big games, that is where they'll unleash their very, very best. So expect these, all these high-profile teams to come good when the stakes are higher. So I expect some of these teams to really, to just raise the bar as they are known to. And we'll see that some of these stars come to the party.
As you said, hopefully these teams will raise the bar in the round of 16 because there is no second chance here. Oli, coming to you, talking about the Spain, since winning the Euros in 2012, their third tournament in a row, Spanish football has remained technically brilliant, but too often their possession games seem to be little purposeless. In this tournament, though, thanks largely to the two wingers, Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal, they have been much more direct and seemingly much more dangerous. So, do you think that this team, if you talk about how they played so far in the tournament, considering the tournament has unfolded so far, so do you think this Spanish team can replicate the magic of their golden generation in this edition?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was in Kiev actually for the win in 2012 and was mobbed by Spanish fans while reporting on the television all of those years ago. And since then, as you say, there have been accusations at times that Spain have been able to keep the ball for long periods of time without doing much with it. And Luis de la Fuente's team this time around seems very keen to put that sense aside and to make sure that they are penetrating when they have the ball, that they are creating chances, they are using the possession to great effect. And so we do expect in this round of 16 game that their first choice lineup will return after what was a fairly routine final game in the group stages with lots of changes. So you expect Nico Williams to come back in, Rodri will come back in after a ban as well. We expect Lamine Yamal to come back in as well, and some of those players are absolutely crucial to Spain going forward. And I think it's also fair to say, given some of the big teams' disappointing performances that we've been discussing already, including England and France and Belgium and others, Spain, many people have been looking at as now potential favourites, given some of the, as I say, fairly lacklustre performance by some of the other so-called big teams in this tournament. So we will be keeping another close eye on Spain's performance against Georgia. As you say, there is that recent very, very heavy defeat of the Georgians, which will be in the minds, you would have thought, of both teams going into this game.
Definitely, as you mentioned, that the way Spain has played, and they are now looking favourites, considering the other heavyweights of the game are still struggling a bit. But hopefully, in the round of 16, we may say some miracle from these team, and they bring something new and new tactics on the table. Rakesh, considering how the tournament has unfolded so far in this Euro 2024 tournament, the way Georgia performed, the way Romania is playing, so are you expecting a new champion this year, as Oli said that the heavyweights are not performing well, and in that scenario a new champion we can see this time in the Euro 2024?
Well, you spoke about Georgia. Now, Georgia was not the second place team. They finished third, and they were second among all those teams which finished third. So again, they are not in great shape. But at the same time, to expect an underdog to go all the way in a competition where the pre-match favorites haven't really started off so well, I think it's too early. But having reached the kind of knockout stages that we talk about, this is where the big teams just make their presence felt by saying that, look, we are here for this stage just to show why we are so good. That is where the lower ranked teams, or the teams which are considered underdogs, will have to really play out of their skins to actually make an impact. So, I don't really see an underdog going all the way. I still feel that teams like Germany, they're still good. I mean, except that last second escape against Switzerland. I think that was a wake-up call for me. Germany being the host, and again, that remains the favorite side for so many reasons. And what Switzerland did to it was actually to wake them up. So I still feel that I'll still go with this idea that a favorite team, or a pre-event favorite among those whatever teams 1, 2, 3, 4, one of them is going to go all the way.
Definitely, as you mentioned, that the big teams and the heavyweight teams always save their best for the knockout stage, especially at the round of 16. We are hoping that these teams will come with their A game. So thanks, gentlemen, for joining us, giving a wonderful perspective on this Euro round of 16 matches. Thanks a lot. Now, shifting focus to our another story that also belongs to the Euro 2024. An exhibition at the German Soccer Museum brought together the soccer fans and art buffs under one roof. The exhibition charts path of the football from the early 20th century to today, taking some of the biggest stars, Diego Maradona, Eric Cantona and Cristiano Ronaldo. The aim is to find the common ground between the soccer and art lovers and get both to think about each other. The idea of art and soccer may for some fans conjure amazement at a player's exquisite skill or a lasting image of glory or bitter defeat in the aftermath of the full-time whistle. An exhibition at the German Football Museum in Dortmund, however, aims to bring together soccer fanatics and art buffs and showcase the overlap between art and beautiful game. In motion, art and football, which coincides with Euro 2024, includes nearly 200 works representing all 24 nations at the European Championship.
It is important to us that the two perspectives are combined. We tell the story of the soccer through the perspective of art and the vice versa. Soccer also tells a piece of history because soccer was a very, very important means of expression for artists in the 20th century to tell the story of modernity. And that is also completely new. It has never been done before an exhibition. And so both sides, both poles, which we bring together, fertilize each other. The soccer fan is immersed in art history, and the art enthusiast learns something about the fascination of soccer, that soccer is not just a 1-0 on the pitch, but what else soccer tells.
The exhibition charts the path of football from early 20th century to today, taking in some of the biggest stars, Diego Maradona, Eric Cantona and Cristiano Ronaldo. The aim is to find common ground between soccer and art lovers and get both to think about the other.
There have been many exhibitions on the subject of soccer and art, but there has never been an exhibition that has brought together the 20th century across Europe. There has been something on individual stylistic epochs, something on individuals artists, but this exhibition is new in that it brings together the whole of soccer as a European phenomenon. And that is what is unique about this exhibition.
The exhibition, which runs until January, is one of several art football projects during the European Championship connected to German Football Museum, which features shirts worn by Maradona and Franz Beckenbauer, alongside some bizarre items like the ashes of famous footballing oracle Paul the Octopus. Visitors' numbers have soared for the museum during the championship, with a string of record days for the attendances. Sports Desk, DD India. And in the world of endurance sports, tales of triumph often emerge from the unexpected corners, where the resilience and the determination of the individuals to conquer challenges that seem unsurmountable. One such remarkable story is that of Saurav Ahuja, who transcended humble beginnings to become a beacon of inspiration in the world of triathlons, culminating in the finish of the grueling Ultraman Florida Triathlon, covering a brutal 515 kilometers in just 3 days. DD India's Abhishek Prasad talked exclusively to Saurav Ahuja.
Today, India's name is taken with pride all over the world, be it in the field of science, literature, arts, or sports. Indians keep raising the bar and make their country feel proud of them. What such Indian is Saurav Ahuja, who is joining us right now from USA. Saurav is an endurance athlete who recently completed one of the toughest triathlon race, the Ultraman Florida edition. Saurav, thank you for joining us. Tell us about the Ultraman, the sport, and how physically challenging this sport is.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for having me here. So, Ultraman is a triathlon where you have to swim, bike, and run. It's a 3-day event, and every day you have a time limit of 12 hours. Day one, you have to swim 6.2 miles or 10 kilometers. And after that, you have to bike 90 miles or 145 kilometers. So you go back home, get ready for the next day, come back next day. So it's very challenging. It takes years of preparation to reach there. And 40 to 50 athletes participate in this event.
Okay.
So this year, there were 45 athletes from 16 countries, and 37 were able to finish it.
Tell us about your Ultraman journey. How did you pick up this sport? And where did you get the motivation from? And why did you try this endurance event, which is full of huge challenges and so much stamina is required?
I believe in 2011, I was in Delhi at that time. So I grew up in Delhi. I saw an ad in one of the newspaper that Reebok Running Squad is giving free training for Airtel Delhi half marathon.
Okay.
So I got interested in that. So I gave it a try. I found a coach, Gagan Arora, and I really liked the training part. It was CrossFit, and I ran my first half marathon under a coach for the very first time in 2011. And I really liked it. And after that, I continued that thing. So from first half marathon, in another 1 or 2 years, I did first full marathon. And I don't know, somewhere I read that Ironman triathlon is toughest one-day fitness challenge on the planet. So that's how they market it. So I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to do it. So, and when I was preparing for this Ironman triathlon, I heard about Ultraman, that Ultraman is 2 to 2.5x of Ironman.
Right.
So I was like, that sounds even more interesting. Maybe someday I would do that. So I did my first Ironman in 2016. And that's when I moved to US. One of the reason of moving to US was this, because I was so passionate for these triathlons. I'm from a humble uh, background. So like I didn't had finances. Later I realized that these events are very expensive and Ironman doesn't happen in India. So I had to manage finances. I had to manage family. I had a daughter at that time, and later I had a son as well. So while navigating all these life's challenges, it took me almost 13 years to finish Ultraman.
Tell us about this year's race and what preparations did you put in for Ultraman Florida, and what was going on your mind, and what challenges did you face on the first, second, and that finally the third?
So in 2022, I resumed my training and I started for training for this Ultraman Florida
Okay.
almost 18 months ago before the event. I found a local coach here in Seattle, Kainoa, and I told her that that's what I want to do. So Ultraman is a invitation only event. You have to apply, you have to do a Ironman 12 to 18 months before the Ultraman. So we planned it that way, that in 2022, that June 2023, I will do an Ironman, and February 2024, I'll do the Ultraman. Now I'll talk about those 3 days. So honestly, my training was harder than the Ultraman days. So day one, swimming started. First loop. So swimming, 10-kilometer swim was 3 loops in the lake. So first loop went fine. I was very confident. Second loop went fine. In the third loop, I got a cramp in the calf muscle and I started moving my legs slowly because I wanted to make sure cramp doesn't stop me. And then later, immediately 10-15 minutes after that, I started shivering in the water. Because water was cold. It was maybe around, it's in 50s in Fahrenheit, or I at that time I didn't know that what to do. I cannot go out of the water. So the only way out is swim slowly, one arm at a time. So that was like almost 2 hours of suffering. I was shivering and swimming slowly, but I was able to finish my swim part in like 4 hours, 50 minutes, something. And I knew that I have 7 hours to finish. So that's like plenty of time. So I was comfortably able to finish. Day two, so first 6-7 hours, I was doing fine as per the pace. But during the 9th hour, there were a lot of hills and the wind. So that made me slow. And I had like 3 hours and 42 miles to cover. So I felt like I won't be able to finish. So that was for like almost 10 minutes. I was in the fight or flight mode. But at that time, my crew helped me. That 10th hour, I rode bike very hard. So second day, I was able to finish it in 11 hours, 45 minutes. So day three, I was confident in running. So I was able to finish my first marathon in 5 hours, 10 minutes. And after around like 30 miles, I got cramp in the stomach, and that lasted for like 2 hours. In last 5-6 miles, I had little bit of knee pain issue when I was going down, and some blisters, but overall it was fine. And throughout these 3 days, I had a lot of fun. I was smiling, I was enjoying. I was finally able to finish, and I was super happy. Yeah.
Can you tell us something about your diet and the nutrition intake that you have to take for this tough?
Yes. So I would say my diet and nutrition is very simple. So I generally eat healthy food. whatever people say it's a junk food or packaged food or processed food, I do not eat that. So I typically eat like whatever food we eat at home, like dal roti, rice, sabji, aloo paratha, and all those things. I did not take any special food, or it's all homemade plus training nutrition, I would say, that we take for endurance.
What is your next aim from here, and what are you looking forward now in future?
Yes. So I'll go back to my original theme that I heard about Ironman as toughest one day fitness challenge on the planet, and I wanted to do it. And then I heard about Ultraman. So the interesting thing happened to me is during Ultraman, some of the people talked about Epic 5. So Epic 5 is 5 Ironman triathlons in 5 days in 5 different islands of Hawaii. So it's even more crazier. And my idea is I will keep going as long as I'm smiling. Currently, I'm taking care of kids. My little one is 5 year old. So I'm playing with him. I have to teach maths to my daughter, and she's doing great in swimming, and I have to support my wife. So currently, I'm focusing on my family, or you can say I'm preparing my environment for my next challenge.
Okay. We wish you all the best, Saurabh, for your future endeavors. And you are truly an inspiration and one who has overcome so many hurdles and challenges and come as an endurance athlete. Thank you so much for joining us and giving your time to us. Thank you.
So what a tough event, the Ultraman event, the way Ahuja has done, it's kudos to him. So that's all in this edition of Sports 360 Degree. We hope you enjoyed it. Join us every week as we bring you the pulse of the sports world. Until then, stay healthy and keep cheering your favorite athletes and teams.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of